Good morning.
Good morning, Thomas. How you doing?
I slept so poorly last night. Normally I sleep wonderfully.
Probably had a lot on your mind, maybe.
Yeah. One of those nights,
On this ride, I left Northampton. Paul caught up later on. We went together and picked up the group at the Alden Village Center. Went out on Honea-Egypt Community Road through the Grand Lake Estates, the Hills Parkway, to Keenan Cutoff, to 149 to Springbranch Road. Lots of action. I think you would love the clip we put together for you. Once we got to the end of Springbranch Road, we headed back. Paul and Laura headed back together. I was a little behind them, and we just made a short day of it. But I think that the clips that we put together for you will really show just how hot and heavy the early part of the ride was. And I think you would love what we present for you here today.
every once in a while you get those.
We're
Like a
leaving
bike ride.
the Alden Village Center in the Woodlands, Texas.
Well, that's miles. It's definitely further for you.
Yeah, 6 miles.
Yeah. You had to leave, what, 2:30?
It's very hot. We're doing about, or maybe 100K is the plan anyway. We're doing shorter rides until things settle. This is Research Forest Boulevard.
I like the new contraption there.
What Abby is talking
We
about.
got something that goes in your palm.
Yeah.
We have different things. We've had them for a while, yeah.
I've got the camera mounted on my wrist today, and so he said he liked the contraption. We've had it for a while. We have different ways of mounting a camera. We have a palm attachment that puts it on the back of your palm, gives you more flexibility, you know, if you don't want to hold the stick. So he just hadn't seen it. About the only kind of attachment I have not invested in is those chest straps. I definitely won't be wearing that as hot as it is around here. I need the airflow. So yeah, with the stick, the wrist attachment, the palm attachment, we got plenty. And also we can always attach it on the bottom of the Garmin adapter. So lots of ways to mount the camera. Tommaso Anselmi on my right here. The Italian.
No.
That's Peter asking about the rock. So Abby updated him.
Yes, you do. That is exactly where we're headed.
There's a small percentage of people that actually look at the map. And I don't think Peter is on our chat boards. I don't think he has access to the map. He hasn't asked to be added. So when he does, we'll add him. But I do a route. This route I put together specifically because I wanted to get us a lumpy ride that was shorter than 4 hours. So we'd be back early because it just gets so hot around here. We've had 40 to 42 Celsius temperatures for the last month. That's triple digits, 100 to 103. That's very unusual. We don't get those kind of days of triple digits in a row like we've had. So I'm looking forward to much cooler weather. The good thing is the days are getting shorter. It's getting light later in the morning and it's getting dark earlier in the evening. So summer's waving by the Earth's axis is shifting away from the sun. So this part of the world will not be having these long daylight hours. And I looked at the weather, and they're forecasting in the next, well, I guess 10 days from now, we're supposed to be at 89 Fahrenheit, 50% chance of rain. We haven't had rain. It seems like more than a month. It's just too dry. So.
Oh yeah. I just changed all the housing cables all the time. It was time.
Yeah, Abby's asking about what are my cables been.
Yeah, that was new. When you saw me, I had already. No. Yeah, I saw you.
Well, Abby's talking about was riding last Sunday after the Saturday ride. I went out for a spin, and he and his wife were headed to service in the morning. And he yelled at the car. My brother from another mother, he said, I hope I didn't scare you. I said, no, I saw the car slow down because I had stopped at a stop sign and they were heading east. And I saw the car and then I heard him. I gave him thumbs up. He says his wife prefers the 9 a.m. service. And when I used to attend the Catholic services, you get a service that you like the ambiance of and the feel. And so you go to that one. So he says when she's not in town, he goes to the later service so he can ride in the morning.
Gotcha.
Because around here, once it gets to around 11 or noon, I see a few people riding, but it's just too hot. You're using all your energy just to stay cool. It's not pleasant. I don't even want to walk outside when it's hot like that, like it has been. We're doing our best to keep our lawn from turning to burned grass, literally, to avoid having to buy sod. So I'm ready for much cooler weather. We have a visit from a bunch of the guys that ride with a group in the area called Friends of Friends. They're here today, and some of them have been coming, but we got a larger number today, and it has been a nice infusion because the ride's pretty fast. We end up losing a third of our group at the end of the neighborhood. So what I talk about all the time about people getting dropped and so forth and so on, everybody's got different things going on. On this ride, I learned that Paul had not been well throughout the week, so he just kind of came to see how he would feel. And I also found out later that our campione, our champion from California, Laura, had a throbbing headache during the ride. So you'll see her pull out of the line on Springbranch because she decides, it's not getting any better, let me back off. And we all turned around, but not together. She and Paul turned around on Springbranch. When I got to the end of Springbranch, I was waiting for them, and I realized it shouldn't be taking them this long, so I started riding back. By the time I surmised that they had turned around, I decided to just make a short ride of it and head on back in. So it was a good workout nonetheless. But I told her later that it's a good idea. Whenever you don't feel your best, either end the ride or drop the intensity and just enjoy being out. You don't feel the need to push yourself when you're not 100%. You can set yourself back, and actually is not good for your health. So nothing's wrong with peeling off the group ride and doing your own thing. Just on how you feel. I think I turned the camera around here a little bit. I don't know. I have it on my wrist. I got a copy of the Ecoy helmet I'm wearing. I'm going to do a review on it. It's a real nice helmet. Very lightweight. Feels like the hairnet from the 80s. Very light. Well, about 260 grams. That's about 9¼ ounces, and when you convert in pounds. Very lightweight helmet. Very airy. I was very impressed with how cool the helmet is. I got it in the Israel Premier Tech colors. So whenever we stop, you can see some of the perspiration on my chest. When you're moving, it has evaporative cooling. Whenever we stop, then you feel kind of wet. So I'm going to do another video. I just released a video about the Rafa lightweight jersey that I'm wearing in this video. I've worn another copy earlier, the chartreuse color. But I'm going to do another video that talks about their other jersey that is excellent for hot weather. Their Blvd lightweight jersey. It's the one jersey wearing when I stop in hot weather, I'm not wet. So whatever that merino wool that they're using, and they lighten it up, it's a winner. I wear that very frequently, especially this year with the extreme heat we've had. So I'm primarily wearing flyweight, lightweight jerseys right now. I'm not even wearing training jerseys or anything like that, because until it gets much below 30 Celsius, about 80 degrees Fahrenheit, I'm not going to be wearing them. At 85, below 85 Fahrenheit. So that's the barometer I use for a mild day, low 80s. So 30C is like my cutoff for a mild day. Above 30C, you're hitting 90s and whatever. The 30C is right at 85. It's time to get very serious about lightening up your kit and definitely increasing your hydration. So we use this way to go ahead and get out of town quickly and not compete with a lot of cars. This is Abby in front of me here.
Hey, Owen, let me tell Roy that he's got the leaf. Yeah, that's right.
There's a leaf under Roy's cleat. The guy in the blue on the right up there. Abby's telling this other guy on the left to tell him in Spanish. To tell him in Spanish. Now he's gonna take it off. So he must have watered a tree this morning or something.
He must have gone in the woods. He was fertilizing a tree.
I'm gonna say it against the Abby. He's gonna laugh because he does that a lot. He's always going in the wood cleaning and the woods. So he knew.
He was probably fertilizing a tree.
But once you have stuff in your cleats, it impairs your ability to easily clip in and clip out. So it's good that he saw that and told Roy. This is Laura right here. Laura got that just as we were rolling out, because she rides to the right too.
We're gonna be turning left.
There are a lot of cars coming. I'm gonna stop right here. It's crowded a bit. I'm looking behind to make sure it's clear. Now I'm gonna move over. So the camera is mounted to my wrist, which frees my hand up completely. And I was just trying it to see. We've used it once before. It's a nice position. I like it better
Laura
because
said she doesn't see. God damn, she saw taillights. Laura.
She
rode to the right, yeah. I didn't realize she was not there.
I surprised the guy. Yeah, I didn't see her. I'm surprised the guy.
Yeah, what I was saying was when I mount the camera on the bike, there's a lot of rattle. And so I've got to mess with the audio to diminish the noise of the rattling. When we carry it in our hand or I attach it to the back of my wrist, next week I'm going to try using the palm rest. They give you different features, but the one thing you don't get is that road buzz. But you have to keep your hand in a position, and a lot of times when I'm shifting or doing stuff, it moves. Because with the stick, we don't have to worry about it so much. But it's physically being attached to your wrist when you move your arm, it tilts. So you're going to get a lot of Dutch angles from time to time. That's what they call them. There's a rattle-free position when we carry them. It gives us the flexibility of filming backwards as well. So that is the preferred mode. Lets you see what we see. Because if I turn my head to see something interesting, I want to turn the camera down. So my eyes are your eyes, per se.
Eyes front.
I'm telling Yusef to look in front. I'm not sure what he's looking behind
Keep
for.
your eye on the
That's
wheel
how
in front of you.
crashes happen.
Looking behind here.
He's too close to the rider in front to be looking behind. If that rider breaks, that's a crash. You're looking behind. There's nothing back here. You're that interested behind here, drift back. If you're going to do that, you're going to look back. You need to pull out the line so you have nothing in front of your front wheel. Then you can turn and look. But to be right behind a rider and looking back, that's dangerous. Don't do that. When you're on that wheel, you got to be watching that wheel all the time. You got to be able to react because things happen quickly in the pace line. And he wasn't looking back for anything that critical. I told him eyes front. Nothing back here. So you see how I have my palm on top of the hoods? The camera is on my wrist. And it's just a nice position. And you know, GoPro sells all those mounts. So those of you who film, you can invest in them if you choose to. We use the stick more than anything, but this is a nice alternative. I really don't like mounting it on the bike, except once in a while, because then you're stuck. You can't really turn your bike around to look behind. You know, I want to be able to move my arm and show you what I see. Tilted because I went in the drops. And then sometimes if I shift, like to the big chain ring, it will tilt a little bit. Or if I stand or whatever. But this way, just like holding it in our hands, we don't have to think about it. The camera films, you just ride. I actually prefer holding the stick because it's more predictable. You don't get these Dutch angles as much. So yeah. We got it down to a science. We got a few people that get excited when we mount the camera on the bike. Oh, I feel like I'm in a peloton. I don't see what the difference is. You know, this gives you more flexibility. The view in the front is the same. Whether it's attached to the bike or sitting in my palm or on my wrist, you still get the same front view. So I just ignore those comments. bit overblown and unnecessary. I stay on the road here. The tires I use on this ride were the Rene Hurst. I kept them at about 90 psi. It was very comfortable even on those ridges. So if you don't overinflate your tires, you can really enjoy the suppleness of it. I jumped the bike back there. That's why the camera moved to the side. I gripped the bike and lifted it as I got to the lip on that road where the pavements met. This is the Dutch angle I'm talking about. Once I realize it, I think I'll rotate my wrist. But I'm not thinking about the camera right now. I'm watching riders and I'm making sure I'm in shelter. So right there, I must have realized it. Rotate my wrist. So next week I'll be using a palm wrist. It gives a whole different perspective and additional flexibility. We're really moving. 38K is about 23, 24 miles an hour. This is a slight grade. It's going to kick up to be 2.5 in certain spots, but in this direction, this road is definitely going up. And we're moving. Those of you who saw the film last week, I was watching the film, and even when I was editing, I was very surprised at how quickly we went up Ribbon Chapel Hill, because we passed the Zanti boys like they were sightseeing. So you're seeing the benefits of having the thing on my wrist. As the group compacts, instead of me just getting Paul all the time, I can rotate my wrist and get the outside per se. Let's say to show like Youssef is in front of Paul right now. I can just rotate my wrist. I don't have to move my bike. Right there, I just rotated my wrist to get this view. Because I'm holding the same line. I'm staying right on the little bit on the left of Paul, but I can rotate my wrist and get the outside. Those are the things that I play with when I get these different attachments. The view is the view, but I like to focus on how I utilize these things without thinking. So as I rotate my wrist, I get to the outside. If I want to get the inside, I can rotate my wrist and move the bike slightly to the right. But right now, I just have my wrist to the outside, and it's still level, but I have it angled at like a 45-degree angle on the brake hood. That's what's giving me this outer shot. And then, of course, Paul has moved to the right a little bit. But just so much variation is available when you don't have things locked in place, which is what everyone else does. Yes, it requires more energy. It requires more attention. But, you know, so's everything good in life. You got to invest a little more. You know? See, you saw that rotation. I just tilted it back, went back, and you see I got my hands on the hoods now, and it's up on my wrist, behind where the wrist meets your palm. Is where it is. Now you see I put my hand in the drops, and I can still film. Now I've got my fingers splitting the brake hoods. I'm pointing left so the driver behind us will know that we're turning. There's a car behind us. I wanted him to slow down. I'm gonna go in the exit gate. This truck comes out, is open. And by the time I get through, that gate opens, the regular entrance. I saw it was only the truck coming through, so I figured just go ahead and go through, keep my momentum. This is Grand Lake Estates, and we refer to it in the area as the neighborhood. I'm waiting for these guys to come by. They were delayed at the gate. I thought I had a better view than just my arm. Okay, we got a rider coming up. You can see some of the riders coming up. That's Frank. There's Laura.
There's a neutralized section. There's a protest up ahead.
Clement Champousson. Mike Pereiras. Tommaso Anselmi. That's Max on the right in the red. I don't know that name. I think that's Roy in the blue there.
There's a lot of pictures there.
This is Paul V right here.
Stop at Keenan.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Okay. The old man's got the fee.
That's fine.
Yeah, Abby wants to stop at the Keenan store, but it's like we end up not stopping because
You drink a lot. You drink a lot too.
right before the stop, you'll see they're hammering, and then people just want to keep riding. I usually stop every couple of hours. I drink on and off the bike. I drink a lot. You cannot fall behind on your hydration.
It's not good to ride with a full bladder.
So he wants to stop at the Keenan store, but he's one of the ones that initiate the increase in pace on Keenan cutoff, and then everybody gets the fever, and we don't stop. And you'll hear him complaining, but people they're not paying attention. There are a lot of guys just want to ride, they're not thinking about what people are saying, so we end up not stopping there. The official stop on this ride was Taco Corner after 40 miles, because I had planned it to where we'd ride for 2 hours and then stop. Because at the pace we're riding, it takes us 2 hours on this route to get to Taco, because we're going to go to Bailey Grove and do it clockwise. I think in a little bit, if it's already happened, it probably has, people are going to ride off the front. Everybody sits there and watch riders ride off the front. I think it's already happened. I think Abby's trying to ride up to them. And now we're going to pick up the pace to catch up. But there are a few riders off the front right now. It's going to happen once again on Keenan cutoff. People just sitting there watching people ride off the front. If you're going to ride with them, why let them ride off the front? Just sit on their wheel. There's no point in letting the gap open and spend energy to close it back up. It's a lot more efficient to just react and stay on the wheel if you're going to ride with those people. think we've already caught back up the people that were off the front. It was like, I think Paulie Longa, Laura, and a few other riders that opened a little bit of a gap. I don't believe it was intentional. I think people were just sitting there watching it happen. This is a good little neighborhood to come through. It's lumpy. It's relatively quiet. When I'm riding, I just use my arms to let them know something's across the road. Other than saying car up and car back, I don't like to say much else when I'm in the baseline. I just point. It's early in the morning. We're going by people's homes. I don't want to be yelling. Plus, with the wind, not everybody can hear you clearly, so they just hear a shout. You'll see the grade go up. Yeah, those were the guys that are off the front up there where you see Paul is. There was a gap earlier. We've closed it down. I'm not sure what Abby's talking about. I don't do much talking when I'm riding. It's time to ride. Let's ride. We can talk at the stops or when we're warming up. Kicks up a little bit here. This is near the entrance to the golf course office on the right. Hey, you saying car? If you sitting there, you better move over. There's a lot of gravel on the road there. You know, it's like there's not that much, just scattered a little bit. Whether you're in a bunch or by yourself, read the road. Nobody's responsible to point things out for you. It's a courtesy. Read the road. Pay attention. Once again, the gap's opening up front. The road's kicking up. And it's going to curve. Might be around 2% or so. Yeah, that's what it says, 2%. So most of this ride here, at this point, I'm sitting around a little above sweet spot, bottom of zone 4, something like that. It's a good effort. It's a lot faster than we normally ride, but so we're pushing so much. My heart rate keeps going up. Entering zone 4 for me. About 170 beats per minute or so. It's like race pace for me anyway. See the watts, 600 something around that curve. You got to do that to stay in contact. Going to kick up here. We're getting near a little road called Linda's Place. This is where Shapusan pulls out of the line. I'm not sure what he was doing, but the effort is still on. Linda's place, that little road on the right. I stay on Max's right because I don't want my rhythm to change. We're going hard here. I've just entered zone 4. We've lost about a third of our group at this point. I'm looking in my mirror and I can see people back there. Shempusan let us go. That's Laura coming off the front. This is the hill before we get to the back gate. As soon as we crest the hill, I see that the back gate is closed. I turn off the power because we have to wait for a vehicle to come either from behind us or the other way, since the keypad is on the outside. Right here, I turn off the power and just sit up. There's no point in wasting my energy. There are quite a few riders behind that were off the back. You're going to see them come by. I don't see a car coming from this side, so I know we're going to be standing here for a while. So I just stop over on the side here.
Oh, well, thank heavens for closed gates.
I died when we were on that hill on
Let's go.
Springbranch.
The guys open the gate. We're standing there. Our side is clear. The gate's open. Everybody's sitting there. I had to tell them, let's go. Let's do this. I guess they needed to catch their breath.
It's about 9.5 to 10, depending on how you take it.
John's asking me the grade on Springbranch Road.
Maybe that's the cable for that guy.
It's steep, but it's short. So. So this section of the area here is called the Hills Parkway. It'll take us to Keenan Cutoff Road. Notice where I am. I'm on the right side. The wind is coming from the left in this direction anyway. We're kind of headed westerly. And so the wind's coming from the south. So you always got to be trying to use the least amount of energy possible. So that when it's time to really go hard, you have plenty left. the time in the bunch to take a drink, whatever, because even though the speed's 22, 23, we're kind of rolling because it's really like a slight downhill to flat section here. Take a drink, you do whatever, and gather yourself and get ready for when it's time to work. You'll be ready. Moving here, the line is nice and tight. I ended up behind Darren up here, which is a perfect position for me because I get a great draft, a big gap. Look at that line. Gonna descend and it will drop, then it will dip up on a little bump before we get the Keenan cutoff. I'm going to stay on the outside because I don't want to slow down too much. All that momentum, I don't want to lose it. That's Keenan cutoff road right up there. Going to be turning left. And on Keenan cutoff road, there's a lot of lumps. Some of them are very deceiving, but you feel them more than anything. I'm going to go around Jennifer. I want to move up in the line.
You can. Go muscle around and pass over the road. Get down right here.
I moved up quite a few positions. I'm kind of in the mid-third of the pack. very familiar with the undulations on this road. And so the key is to make sure you're geared properly. Keep yourself efficient. Your eye on my RPMs. You can see it's triple digits. This road's going up right here. I spin up, and I'm going to shift up because once you get over the bump, it's going to go down. So you keep your rhythm reasonable. Saw the rider that we just passed back there. His cadence was very low, and he was going backwards. Somebody hit the brakes. I moved to the left instead of hitting my brakes. The wind to slow me down. You can see how Mike lets Laura take her position again. He just left enough gap for her to slip back in. That's what you do. You know where the rider was. She moved over to slow down, but the wind slowed her down. He knew that. A little bit, people are going to get off the front. I believe Abby and a few other riders are going to ride off the front. I think it's somewhere around here. There's a rider that just pulled out of the line. I don't believe he was pulling. He pulled out of the line and allowed that gap to just open. So I'm going to move up when I see it to go to try to close the gap right here. But then I see Paulie Longa decides he wants to close the gap. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to sit on his wheel. So right there, this guy moves over. He slows me down. I have to slow down here because he was coming over. So right here, I was going to go, and then Paul starts to go. So I just sit on his wheel. You can see my shadow because he gapped the rider behind him. Then in a little bit, there's another rider that will come on our left. I don't know if it's Roy or somebody else, but he'll come around. It's expending a lot of energy because you don't need to get him back right this second, because I don't know what happened up there. That's too much of a gap to have allowed to happen. He's spending a lot of energy. It's not necessary. So we're going to keep riding. Laura comes, and I think Mike will come, and then Paul gets on Mike's wheel. I just stay where I am, and we're going to ride back and catch up to him. And after that, Abby's going to want to stop at the store on the corner, but at this point, we've started this. Everybody is in the mood for riding fast. We've lost a third of our group at this point. The same people that got dropped in the neighborhood got dropped again. You can see we're doing 31 miles an hour. It is a slight downhill flat road. So that was Abby that raised the pace. Now he's pulled off, and I guess he doesn't let them know early enough. By the time we get to where he wants to stop, the impetus is on. Nobody wants to stop. So when I said something about stop. Nobody heard that. He says stopping. Nobody wants to stop. So we get the 149. We're gonna turn around. There's a store on the left, the gas station. That's where he wants to stop so he can use the restroom. Nobody stopping. So when you're gonna stop, don't start stuff before the stop.
Everybody want to follow.
So I let him come around. Sit on the shoulder here. It's a busy highway. There's nothing behind us at this moment. But before we turn, there is a pickup truck that's also going to be turning, but he gets a little too close for my taste. So I stay on the shoulder until he turns. So he turns behind the group, so I'm behind him. And I end up riding back up to the group once he goes around because he's turning on the same street. I don't know why he didn't give us enough distance. Let's put it that way. They do the same thing when you drive in your car. They act like they got to be right up on you. We didn't make an appointment together. We signal that we're turning left, back off a bit. So I stayed on the shoulder because I was already, in a little bit I'm going to get on the shoulder when I see him coming because I let them know we're not quite at the turn yet. So I get on the shoulder here. We're going to go up this little rise. I stand. That's why the camera, you see my wrist is moving. You see my hand.
Come back!
I let them know it's a car back. He's a bit closer than I would like. And so I let them know, but then they signal and take over the lane. So instead of him backing off, he's the one blowing. I'm not sure why he's blowing. They're letting you know we're turning left. So I point, but he's right there. You see, right there. So I just stay on the side here and I get behind him. We're all going the same place. I'm not sure why he's got to be right up on the riders. So they turn, I turn behind him. He's going to use the left lane to go around the group, and I'm going to ride up to the group. So Mike Barrera in a little bit will see me because he's looking back. He's like one of the riders in the back. I'm riding up to them, and he thought I was having difficulty. So he's telling me, oh, the draft is on the right or whatever. So, I didn't say anything. I already knew what I was doing. But he thought I was having challenges because he had looked behind a couple of times and saw me gap. But I wasn't gapped because I was having difficulty. That guy just looked like he wasn't paying the kind of attention I'm comfortable with. So right where that crazy dog used to live, that's where Mike is going to tell me, the kamikaze dog. He's going to say, oh, the draft is on the right. I know where the draft is. That's where I am now. And then I move over just to slow down. So at this point, I'm basically the last rider in this group. We've lost quite a few riders. There's no one else behind me. That's why I don't turn the camera around. I pretty much wanted to stay back here and just film everything. And knowing that 9 or 10% climb is coming up, I just go ahead. I think I'm zipping my jersey right here. Yeah, I had it open. So Mike's gonna look behind again and think I'm struggling, but I'm not. I feel really good. I feel very strong. I'm gonna ride back up to the group. So we're doing 26, 27 miles an hour. So he recognizes that I'm not in the most efficient position. So that's why he's going to point and say, oh man, the draft's over here, or something like that. Right here, he's going to tell me, I just smile. I know why he did that. Right there.
I'll leave you some room on the right.
That's what he said. I'll leave you some room on the right because that's where the draft is. That's an experienced rider because basically if we're going fast and you're the last guy or whatever and there's no room, you have to work harder, you know, to really be efficient or to take advantage of the draft. But on this day, the way I was feeling, man, it was just, I had a good training week. I had
about
good
a third
rest.
of our group.
So it was good. I told him, yeah, we lost about a third. He's been looking back. This is basically Group A. We got B and C on the road back there. And we're going very fast into that climb that's coming up that John Z was talking about. This is where we lose this guy. We come around here, you can tell his pedaling is very choppy. I just I think a lot of riders in our area ride too much, and they come to this ride tired. You know, Mike holds a recovery ride every Friday to try to teach them how to rest up. And I don't think everybody takes advantage of it. You can't come to this ride with tired legs. It's too fast for you. You don't get a respite. You gotta give yourself a couple of days to recover. Doesn't mean you don't ride, but you back off. You have a big event coming up. I just stayed in the big chain ring here. I think I end up standing. You see the camera get a little wonky as I'm standing. Power. My wrist is moving. I'm not thinking about filming at this point. The effort is up, 660 some watts. It's not really going very hard. I mean, it's hard, but not as hard as we've gone before. You can tell the guys with disc brakes are hitting their brakes in the pace line. That's what that was. And it kind of startles me per se because on a climb, what are you hitting your brakes for? Just drift. Give yourself enough room. You don't need to be right up on somebody anyway. Stay with them to get a good shot, get a good view of this. And then in a few kilometers, Paulie Longa is going to pull out of the line, and then Laura's going to pull out of the line. And I noticed that, so I decided, okay, maybe I'll meet them. And this is not where she pulls out. I'm not sure. No, I remember going past her, but I thought she was going to sit on the back. But she was not feeling herself. She had a headache. So you don't want to ride hard when you're not 100%. But I thought they would ride to the end of this road, and then because that's where I waited for them, and we would regroup there. But then after waiting for a while, I decided to ride back, and then I started seeing some of the riders that had fallen off the pace. And they say, "Yeah, we saw them back there." I said, "You see Paul and Laura? Yeah, they're back there." But they didn't tell me they were going the opposite way. So by the time I had ridden further back and realized, hey, they must have turned around, I just decided to head back home. Laura pulled off back there. And then I think Paul is going to pull off in a little bit. Paul says energy level just dropped. So you got to listen to your body all the time. I have time. I love coming on this road during the week. It's just very, very quiet. Somebody's forcing the pace on this little bump. Short bump. So this ride was fast. And this time of year, that's kind of what we need. And in the winter, we can taper it down a bit. But a lot of riders in the area, they ride the same way all year round. I mean, if you recover from it, I guess it's okay. It's not setting you back. It's okay if you're mixing it up with your other training and having days where you're doing longer, steadier rides. This is where Paul pulls out. I figured he would just ride to the end of the road. But I think once he hooked up with Laura, it turned around. Because he had told me that he wasn't feeling great. I mentioned to him, yeah, you can always turn around. He said, yeah, but the ride's already short. But yeah. So I don't know what's going on up here. This is Yusuf. He's hard to follow. He's all over his bike. Watch him. He needs a fit because that bike feels like it's hot underneath. Spends a lot more energy than he should be using. I think he's sensitive to the sun because he's got like really long socks on and then long sleeves. So in a few kilometers, I'm going to wave the riders behind me up as I pull out of the line. Yusuf's going to tell me, I like your position. It's very aerodynamic. I told him it's comfortable. You know, it happens to be aero, but comfort was first. Aero happened to be a byproduct. There's no point in being aerodynamic if you're not comfortable. You're not going to be able to generate power. So I looked in my mirror. I didn't see Paul. I didn't see Laura. And I was like, something's up. This is where I start to think, well, I need to go check on him. I think that's Peter pulling off the front, or Peter or Mike. Yes, Peter. Peter was carrying a third bottle in the back of his jersey neck. I carried 2 500 milliliter bottles. They last at least 2 hours. And then I drink before I get on the bike. Just make sure I got enough liquid for the stop before we get to the stop. You know, on this ride anyway, we weren't stopping at 20 miles. The plan was to stop at 40. A couple of hours. Stop every 1 to 2 hours. That's a good range. Hot weather. Stop when you need to. That's Mike pulling off the front there. Abby's up there. So in a little bit, I'm going to wave them up. I'm concerned. I don't see Laura. I don't see Paul there. They should be able to be here. And knowing what was going on with Paul, I knew something was up. So I don't know what you did this weekend, but you can see we had a blast on Saturday. This group just went faster and faster. So next week I'm gonna have to come up with a more challenging course. Take us into the forest. Somewhere around here I'm gonna pull out the line. I'm gonna wave people up, I'm gonna go to the right so I can turn around. We're approaching the end of Springbranch Road. This is what he said he liked my bike. He said it's very aero. He liked my position. So I told him it's comfortable. He said it's very aerodynamic. I'm waving these guys up. And then Michael will say last rider when he comes by. But I'm not going. He thought I was going to get back in the line. I'm going to turn around. So this is where I shut things up and go look for those guys. We're never really hooked up, so I just rode back home. Once the other riders coming behind told me, oh yeah, we saw them. So I don't know what you did this Saturday, but remember, get your K's in and keep all the doctors fire.